Good morning. I had a request from a client to come up with a strategy, with an OTM scaling strategy. We will talk about that and get right into it. An OTM scaling strategy is where you buy or sell an out of the money binary. And you're not going to win every time, but when you do win, it pays off really good. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and put our tool suite on our chart. There we go. And right off the bat, we're going to see parameters that are not so good. Let me click all these. It doesn't matter what currency pair or what asset you look at. What you're trying to do is you're trying to find out of the money win rates that have 5 or less consecutive losses, maybe 6. It just depends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you watch as I go through here and find one. They're all over the place. You just have to find them. So first I'm going to go to indicators, go to the tool suite, and I'm going to select what I want to use. He mentioned using RSI, so we're going to use RSI. And let's see here. He mentioned trading between 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. So we're just going to put a line here, 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now, if you will look right up here, you will see that whenever I hover over this bar, this is an hourly chart, it's 10 a.m. If I hover over this bar, it's 3 a.m. On my MT4 time, it will be 10 to 17 that we want to look for trades. So what I need to do is I need to go in here to the tool suite, and I need to put in my times 10, 17, and we're going to start there. Now, before we do anything, we're going to try to get these down a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and look. Right now there's 142 trades overall, but the win rate is not nearly as high. So right now we've got it set on a 2-hour expiry. We're just going to go in here and look. We're going to set it on a 3 p.m. expiry and see if our probabilities go up. I don't know. Okay, the probabilities go up for a 3 p.m. expiry dramatically, from like 48 to 57%. We've got 57% ATM win rate and a 42% loss rate. 9 wins in a row, 5 losses in a row. Now let's go to the OTM. It's got a 33% win rate and a 9 loss in a row on the OTM. So hang on just a second here. Let's go back and look at what the, let me take a picture of this. Let's go back and look at what the 2-hour binary was. Let me pull up my picture. This is the 3 p.m. This is the 2-hour. We're going to compare. Okay, the 3 p.m. is a little better on an OTM rate 10 pips out. However, it still loses 9 times in a row overall. So we're looking for something better than 33% and something less than 9 losses in a row. So let's just go in here. We're going to scan them all first. Let's see what a 1-hour is. No good. Let's see what a 3 a.m. is. No good. Let's see what a 7 a.m. is. no good. 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. is fine, but still I'm just looking. Now I'm going to go look for an 11 p.m. Well, the win rate's higher, but it still has 10 losses in a row. So now we need to figure out, do we want a higher expiry rate, but more losses in a row, or a lower expiry rate and less losses in a row? And it really doesn't matter. Let me put it on a 3 p.m. 3 p.m. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the RSI settings. Well, let me go ahead and get this locked in. Okay, I'm going to go down here to the RSI settings. First of all, let me see what a touch says. Okay, a touch is 74% of the time. It actually touches in reverse 78% of the time. Let's reverse this. I want to see something. Okay, here we go. It touches 78% of the time with 3 losses in a row. But now what we need to figure out is, let me see something here. This is for a 3 p.m. Right now, I'm looking at Australia dollar 3 p.m. contracts for 3 hours out. I'm going to look at pricing now. Here's 3 hours out. And let me just look, because what if I get a signal early on that's about, more hours out? Hang on a second. I'll look for 7 p.m. as well. And we'll just look at pricing. Okay, so if pricing right now is in between here, between 7440 and 7420, then about 10 pips out is no good, because I can buy that for 36 for a 7 p.m. or for 7 hours out. For 3 p.m., let me see here. Price is in between there again. Okay, it's a little bit better, but I'm going to have to go about 20 pips out to be able to pull this off. So let me see, 20 pips out. It's got 9. And it's got 9 losses in a row. And my buy price will be, for 3 p.m., it's going to be roughly anywhere between 10 and 20 bucks. It's got 3 losses in a row. Okay, so now I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go down to the RSI settings. And I'm just going to look. Okay, 70, 30. Let's look and see what 80, 20 produces. Now remember these settings. These are the original settings. I'll take a picture of it so we can keep that as reference. Okay, the 80-20 settings, it's okay. However, there's not enough trades, so we can't go with that. So we're going to go back to 70-30. And now we're going to cross into overbought, oversold. We're just going to try out the different parameters. Okay, now here's one. Here's one. There's 20 pips. This one's 20 pips out, and it touches half of the time. So here in about 4 minutes, I'm going to get a live price of what Is this at 3 p.m.? expiry. Okay, 20 pips out, and it loses 5 times in a row. Let's go back down to the RSI settings. I want to put these at about 8. Let's see what happens there. Okay, that doubles my loss rate right there. It still does it half the time, but it doubles my loss rate to 10. It's got twice as many trades, but if I'm going to do an 8-period RSI, let me try now moving this to 80-20. Okay, that brought my number of trades down to 102 and a loss rate of only 6. It's still, it's got a 46% touch rate, and it still loses more often. But let me look. Okay, now I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna reverse it again. Now we got okay, here we go. 52% versus 47%. Max losses in a row is 5 for 20 pips out. For 30 pips out, we're looking at 7 losses in a row. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get the cheapest possible binary. Hang on a second here. Okay, it's won twice in a row, and it's lost 7 times in a row on OTM level 3. Okay, I'm going to go back down here into RSI and just fiddle with it. I'm just going to see what this is. 5. Nope, that's no good at all. Oh, that's not the right one. So we're going to try a 10 period and just see. So 58. No. Nope, no good. So let's go back to the 8. Go back to the 8. Okay, now this is for touch mode. Now what we're going to do is just for, I just want to see. I don't think this is going to give enough trades, and it does not. Okay. I forgot what this was. No, no good. So 80 and 20 looks to be pretty good there. Okay. Now, when we've got this, it's on Australia US dollar. You've got, over the past 102 trades, it only wins 30% of the time. However, when it does, it touches 30% of the time. So out of 102 trades, it's probably going to touch like 30 30 times, whatever, 33 times. Now, you've got a period of 7 here where it has went all the way to 7 losses in a row without touching. But we want to find out how often that happens. So let's go in here. Let's type in right here on consider signal only after a losing streak. Let's type in 7 because we want to find out how many times this has actually went all the way to 7. And it's done it only one time over the past 102 trades. How many times has it went to 6? 6 losses in a row. It's done it 5 times. So since it's done it 5 times, that gives us a little bit more to work with. How many times has it went to 5 losses in a row? 9 times. You know what? Let me write this down. 7 losses in a row. 30 pips out, it's went 5 losses in a row 9 times. Let me see how many times it's went 4 losses in a row. $16. How many times it went 3 losses in a row? $27. How many times has it went 2 losses in a row? $44. And 1 loss in a row. $70 times. Okay, so out of 102 trades, 70 of those has been 1 loss in a row. 70 of those has been 1 loss in a row. Hang on. Now, if you will look down here, this is since July. Wait, where we're at? Since July 2015. So roughly about a little over a year and a half of data. So, you know, trading opportunities are not very prominent on just this one. However, here is a good pair, and you can go through this process for just about anything and find good OTM win rates. Now, if we know that over the past 102 trades, this is how it's happened. We went to 7 losses in a row only once, 6 losses in a row 5 times, 5 losses in a row 9 times. That's 9, 15. That's 15 trades out of the past 102 trades that's went more than 4 losses in a row. So out of 102 trades, 87 of them were at 4 losses or less. 87 out of 102 were at 4 losses or less. Okay, only 15 times out of the 102 times it went to 7, and 7 is the max that it went to in the past 2 years. So there's several things you can do with this. If you're looking at scaling, you can start with 1, and most of the time you're going to end up and do fine. Or you can wait for a series of losses, like wait for 3 or 4 losses. Now, if you wait for 3 or 4 losses, you are going to miss trades, of course. You're going to miss winning trades. That's fine. However, you're not going to get those big strings of 7 losses in a row. However, if you wanted to start on every single, take every single signal, like this one here, it didn't make it up here. It didn't touch. So that's 1 loss in a row. But if you want it, let me back up here. This one hit. That one hit. That one hit. Oh, no. I was looking at the first level. Okay, this one didn't hit. We're looking at the third level. That one didn't hit. This one did. This one did not. This one came really darn close, but it didn't hit. This one did not. This one did not. This one did not. There's 3 losses in a row. There's 4 losses in a row. Okay, so after this win here, we look and we have lost 1, lost 2, lost 3, lost 4 losses in a row. And then on the next one, well, actually, let's say it didn't hit. 5 losses in a row, 6 losses in a row, and then on the 7th one it hit. Okay, so you may experience by scaling in things like this. So let's look at how much it's going to cost. Right now, these are live prices. I just pulled this off my Nadex here. Right now, price is in between. Here, this is like 2 hours and 47 minutes out. So price is in between here, in between 74.20 and 74.40. It's actually 74.32 right now. Or 74.29 now. You can see the price where it's at right here. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so if I were going to go 30 pips out, okay, if it's right here in the middle, if I'm going 30 pips out, it's going to be 74.60 because right now price is at 74.30. How much is price 30 pips out? It's $4.75. Ding, 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 $4.75. So if I know it's $4.75, just for safety, I'm going to say it's going to cost about $10. Okay, $10. Can we pretty much agree on that? Let's pull over a live chart just to make sure. Hang on. Here's a live chart right now. Price is at 74.33. 2 hours and 45 minutes out. It's going to cost about $4.75. That's buying it at 74.60. Okay, 74.60. Now, right now, it's 12:14 in the afternoon. Price may be a little bit cheaper, so I'm going to more than double that price and say it's going to cost about $10. Let's look for, even farther out. Let's look for 6 hours out. Okay, price is at 74.32. If I want to buy at 74.60, it's going to cost about $8.25. Still under the $10. Okay, going to cost $8.25, under the $10. And let's look even farther out. Most of the time, let's see. Let's look 7 p.m. Let's look at 11 p.m. Okay, 74.60. Okay, if I'm looking a full 10 hours out, it's going to cost me about $15. If I'm looking a full $10 out, the closer the price is, the less that it costs. So it costs about $15. 30 pips out for 10 hours, almost 11 hours. So that's why I'm going with $10 on average. Okay. Now let's talk about let's talk about money here. If it cost about $10 on average, and since we are going with touches and not expiries, hang on. How much does it cost when price gets to your strike? $50. So if you buy it for 10 and it gets to 50, how much did you make? 40. Okay. So $10 per trade, going for touches, taking profit at 50. There we go. Okay, so let's go up here to 1 loss in a row, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you took a trade and you made money on your very first one, you risked 10, made 40, because you put up 10, got up to 50, took profit, you made $40 profit. Okay. Now, if that didn't work, you can do this like, you know, again here. On your next trade, risk 10, made 40. But let's say we're going to go all the way to 7 losses in a row. Risk 10 and lost. Risk 10. Now, right here, after you spent $30, right here, we're going to up our trade size a little bit. Because if you risk 10 right here and win, it's just going to break even. Okay? Because you've lost 30. If you risk 10 to make, no, you'll make $10, but still. So we're going to up it a little bit. We're going to risk 20, and we're going to do that here. Now, what happens if you win right here? You're going to win 80. Hang on a second. Okay, here we go. Now, out of all of this, if this is the way you do it, one contract, one contract, one contract, and then you start scaling up, you're gonna win if you win less than 7 losses in a row. Okay. What was your total risk? And I'll explain how to do it differently here in a few minutes. What was your total risk? Total risk between all of the trades, total risk was 170. Okay. If you win at hang on. If you win on the 7th trade, which has only been 1, that will pay out $200. You risked 170. And your profit is only 30 bucks. Now, take into account your commissions. Okay, your total risk is 170. Payout is 200. Even after if you win here, that's $30 profit. Commission cost is $34 between all of these trades, roughly. I mean, whatever. So your net P&L could be -$4. Okay. However, even that's all good and dandy. However, you got to remember that 15 times, only 15 times, here, only 15 times has it went to that. 15 times. The rest of the times it has not. So the rest of the times it has made a profit between up till the 4th loss. Now, if you want to be aggressive, you can go talk to Mr. Fibonacci. We can do a 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, which is the Fibonacci sequence. If we do that way, our total risk is going to be $330 for every single contract. Doing it at like $10 or whatever. Some of those will be less than 10, some will be more. The profit up here, if that one wins, it's going to be 520. That's the profit. Wait a second. Nope, that's wrong. Total risk is going to be 330. Payout at the 7th trade in a row is going to be 650. That's, if it goes all the way to here. Profit is 320, and take out your fees and commissions, and you got a net P&L of around 254. And there you go. I mean, there's several ways to do it. If you wanted to wait for, you know, a series of 3 losses, it would it would up your. Let's just do that. Let's wait for 3 losses in a row. Okay. Okay, now let's do it. Let's just go like this. We're going to start with 3 contracts, and that one loses, that loses, that loses, and then, you know, let's say that wins. We're going to talk about what if a black swan happens, you know, here in a minute. But if this is what we've got right here, then we're going to do the math. How much does it cost? 13. Okay, if it takes a full 4 more trades to do it, the total cost would be $290. What would our payout be right here? It'd be $360. So we're risking $290 over the course of all of the trades to potentially make $360. So if it happens here, you're going to make 40 times 3. If it happens here, you're going to make 40 times 5. If it happens here, you're going to make, I think it's right, but 40 times 8 is 320. And if it happens here, you're going to make 40 times 13 is 520. Wait. But this is on, you know, your particular trade. You're going to have to take into any cost that you paid out before that happened. Okay. In trading, though, we're going to talk about a black swan. A black swan is an unpredictable or unforeseen event, typically one with extreme consequences. Here's what a black swan looks like. You know, you've got price. It's going up in an awesome upward trend line, and then this is a black swan. This is something that doesn't normally happen, but, you know, it can happen. It does happen all the time. Well, not all the time, but, you know, it happens. So the reason it's called a black swan is because it doesn't happen a lot. You know, when's the last time that this happened? Well, here's a black swan right here. That's technically, it could be considered a black swan. Let's look for the next one. Let's see, where is it? Okay, now this was during the U.S. election. Pretty sure. Yeah, the markets went haywire. This was a black swan. In a binary, it wouldn't matter because it went down and went right back up. So there are no stops in binaries. But so, you know, they do happen, not very often. So what happens if a black swan happens? Well, you're out that money you paid. How much are you out? $300 or $400. $300 or $400. So just be fully aware that these things can happen. It may go past the 7th loss in a row. We don't know. However, doing OTMs, it's fine. So there you go. I hope you learned something today, and I will catch you next time.